the Oklahoma newsroom, it's the Energy FC weekly update, and nobody's getting anything by this group. Goalkeeper Central here in studio today. I'm joined by goalkeeper coach for the Energy, Alexi Vizarelis. Good to see you. How are you? And then two guys that are in net usually. We've got them out here without their gloves and all their gear, so I hope you guys can manage all right. Bryan Byars. Bryan, good to see you.
You too.
And Matt Vanoekel. Good to see you, Matt.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, sure. Okay, guys, before we talk a little bit about goalkeeping, your specialty, and how you three as a unit work together to max out things in goal, let's talk about St. Louis last weekend. A close call for you guys. Obviously, let one in, but talk a little bit about that match, because you guys have, sort of been struggling to find the 3 points out there the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, listen, St. Louis are a great side, and are in a very rich vein of form right now. So they came in full of confidence, every game in this league is a tough game, and the margin of the difference between winning and losing can be maybe one moment in a game. So we obviously thought we did a lot of positive things in the game, and they took their goal well. Unfortunately, we're disappointed by not finding the net, and obviously we as a unit are disappointed with giving up a goal, because we pride ourselves on clean sheets. But we have to give them credit. They came to our home and got a result, and we do a good job, I think, as a coaching staff and as a group of players of now looking forward and preparing for the next game. We'll take what we can out of the game that we just played, but we'll try and stay positive and move forward.
Bryan, it was a little bit feisty, a lot of fouls out there, and you guys as a unit actually maintained pretty decent possession in that match. So from a defensive standpoint, you guys weren't exactly being called on a lot, because your guys out in the field were doing a pretty good job. What's the challenge in that when you do have a lot of possession for your guys, but then you're just not finding the back of the net? Is it easy to get a little bit frustrated back there?
Yeah, it can be. Defensively, our shape's good. We keep the ball pretty well and defend. The players in front of us help us. Makes our job a little easier. It's just trying to find those right moments to go forward as a group and give the ball to the forwards and try to let them score. So it gets frustrating at times, but it kind of starts with us. We kind of have to keep our mentality and keep everyone else in front of us focused.
Yeah. Matt, you guys had a couple guys make season debuts after some injuries with Jose Angulo and Cody Andrews. That'd be nice just from a overall standpoint to feel like, hey, we're getting our full guys back out here.
Yeah, completely. It's great to have Jose back. We're pleased that Andrew stepped in and did really well for us when he was called upon when Juan went down. So the more that we keep guys healthy and the more guys that we have training every day, we keep building that relationship, that chemistry with the new guys coming into the group. And we're going to look forward to Reno this weekend and hopefully get that big result for us.
Yeah, you mentioned Reno, a Saturday match again. You guys are sort of every Saturday in that routine right now. First time you guys have met this season, Coach, but 1-1 against these guys all the time. You last met them in the playoffs, and that was a huge match. You guys were the 6th seed, they were the 3. Ended up winning that match 1-0. Obviously things changed, so probably not the same teams, but what do you guys take from that match and previous experience to try to get a win on Saturday?
We don't really look in the past as far as the results that we've had against them previously. I think they're coming off a great result on the road to Portland. They won 2-1 there, so they're going to be full of confidence, and we're obviously going to them, so that will pose another challenge in itself. But we're very close to each other in the league. I think a point separates us, so this is a great result for us. If we can, get 3 points at the weekend, it'll really give us that boost that we need to kickstart things again.
Yeah. Do you guys as players, I mean, Coach mentions the road match aspect of this, and I know it's always fun to play in front of your home fans, but can sometimes going on the road when you sort of need to kickstart something, Matt? You're smiling. Can that be a positive in any way? I don't know. You still have to get on planes, trains, and automobiles, but can that kind of be good to be together as a team on the road like that?
Completely. Yeah. I think we love going on these trips. We know that getting road points is how we get ourselves into the playoffs and making those types of runs where we start stringing games together. And being on the road and getting that win away from home is really special. And everyone comes together, and we know that, hey, they're at home, they're relaxed, they slept in their own beds last night, we're in the hotels with noisy people all the time. And when we come out and we get that result, it means a lot for us as a group because we know that we put the work in and we stayed focused for the 90 minutes.
Yeah. Bryan, in this series between the only two matches, but home teams always won. It'd be something different for you guys to go on the road, but I mean, why not, right?
Yeah, exactly. Road, like Matt said, getting points on the road is huge. It builds a lot of confidence amongst the guys, and getting points on the road coming home, it's hey, we did it on the road, might as well just do it again at home. So.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the three of you guys as a goalkeeper group. And Alexi, you've had a long history in Oklahoma. This is not your first rodeo, your first soccer season in Oklahoma by any stretch. Give us the rundown. You didn't start your soccer career in Oklahoma by any stretch.
No. I basically am from the southeast of England. Grew up in Essex, which is probably the other side of the River Thames for most people to kind of locate where I'm from, and kind of played majority of my soccer there. Grew up playing for various clubs, and then it was actually my mum who persuaded me to come to the States to finish my education. She was really big on me getting a degree, and she said, whatever you do, get your degree and then you can do whatever you want. So unfortunately for her, I went to the States and never came back home, so I remind her about that.
Wasn't what she was aiming for, huh?
But no, I mean, listen, I ended up in Oklahoma at a very small university in Chickasha, Oklahoma, the University of Science and Arts of Oklahoma. So I'm a drover, and met a very good friend to this day, Coach Jimmy Hampton. He coached me for 4 years, and then at the end of my college career, he offered me the opportunity to get into coaching, help the team there as a graduate assistant, and I fell in love with what is my role now, which is coaching, specifically coaching goalkeepers. Even though I have my coaching licenses, I do really enjoy, my passion is coaching the number one.
And Bryan, you met Alexi at USAO. Did he recruit you there? How did all of that work?
So actually, Alexi coached me when I was younger. I was like 12, I think. And
got any good stories you want to pop out here?
Well, it's making me feel old now, so I'm kind of on the spot, but no.
No, so yeah, growing up, going to keeper training with Lexi from a young age, and then my freshman semester of college, I went to Midwestern State, redshirted, and then didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would, and so I was looking for another school, and so I was talking to Lexi about it, kind of asking, what should I do, and he just goes, come be a drover. Yeah. So that's what I did and never turned back.
Yeah, so. And you're a Putnam City North guy too,
yes,
Oklahoma City born and bred,
yep.
so back.
This is my town.
Yeah, back here.
This is my town.
Matt, that's not, obviously, that's not your route, but how did you get into soccer, and how did the path lead here to Oklahoma?
Dad played growing up. He was a goalkeeper, so I sort of just got thrown into that whole thing growing up. Grew up mostly up and down the East Coast, most of the time in Virginia. Went to a small Division I university and Longwood University. And my coach there was a Rutgers man, and he was like, I was looking to transfer, and he sent me, called the coach who was still there, went to Rutgers for 3 years, and after that, went to Minnesota for 7 years with the Thunder, the Stars, the United, all their names that they had in different ownership groups. Had a couple of good seasons there. Then went to Edmonton in Canada for 2 years. Yeah. Had a fantastic year in 2016. Got the privilege to go to Salt Lake last year and play, and now I'm here in Oklahoma.
Did you decide you needed to come somewhere warm finally? Edmonton, Minnesota? I mean, my goodness.
So far, this is the coldest place I've played so far. So, yeah, I've always had those really warm summers. Utah was blistering hot. Yeah. Edmonton was medium. Yeah. But I'm excited for the warm weather here.
You will get a full dose of that before the summer is out. Guys, let's talk a little bit about how you all work together, because, I mean, Alexi, as you were talking, you coach the one, and it is a single guy out there. How do you try to work with these guys to tactically get them ready for games and prepare them as best you can in practice?
Yeah, I mean, it varies throughout the week. If you think about what we're doing as far as load, we're kind of a little bit opposite to what the other 10 players on the field are doing, because at the weekend we hope not to be doing anything in games. You know, that means a good day for us if we're not doing a lot, but you know, we're there when we're called upon. It'll start with obviously Steve and Danny and John. We'll go through we'll pinpoint some things that our opponents will kind of do, some tendencies. Then I'll meet with the goalkeeping group throughout the week, and we'll kind of blend those things into our foundation of work that we already use. You know, so the week, honestly, like today, we've come back off an off day, so it was getting used to handling again, getting our feet moving. Wednesday we'll ramp up the intensity a little bit as far as their load of work, get them sweating and get them going again, you know, get them really earning their crust. And then Thursday becomes a little bit more team orientated, where we'll start to focus on the things we need to do to be successful at the weekend. And Friday more or less is kind of fine tuning and getting them feeling good about the weekend. As a group, you know, the goalkeepers are absolutely fantastic. I'll tell you, you know, obviously to have Matt here with MLS experience and NASL experience, Bryan as well, that has both USL and NASL experience, you know, I'm very grateful. We've got a very talented group of goalkeepers, but I tell you what makes the difference is the character that these guys show every day. They're hard workers. They're very humble. You know, they're not frightened to do something new, and that makes things very easy for us, you know, as a coach. You
know, I'm curious from you two, you come at this with such different perspectives on Alexi. I mean, Bryan, as you were mentioning, you guys have known each other for a decade plus,
yes.
And Matt, you're obviously coming in as the new guy. Bryan, what, you know, as you think about your relationship with Alexi, you know, growing over the years, how does that play into things? I have to think there's maybe nothing he hasn't said to you once along the way somewhere, but how does that translate, the fact that you guys have had such a long relationship?
I mean, I think it's good. In my opinion, I think it's great. You know, obviously, over the years, I've gotten older in kind of, you know, college and everything else, and, you know, pro, and so it's nice to, you know, see it. I kind of see it as a different perspective now, at this level. So, and you know, obviously he's been coaching me forever, and so it's nice to see. You know, I hear things from him, and then it's so funny. Matt will say the exact same thing, you know, and it's like I'm like I've heard that before, and it was probably 5 years ago. Yeah. So you know, it's a cycle, and so it's nice to, you know, be able to see it from different perspectives.
Well, and Matt, do you find yourself sort of rehearing maybe things you've heard from other goalkeeper coaches along the way? I mean, it's got to be different coming from different guys, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, I've had lots of different goalkeeper coaches along my way, and I think what I like the most about Alexi right now is the way he displays his information and communicates to us. Both of us, when he says something, we both understand what he's saying, and it's not thinking, oh, what did he mean there? And we're not like second guessing what's going on. We know exactly what he's telling us, what we're supposed to be doing, the activities, the drills, and what we're supposed to be doing.
I mean, you guys have obviously done this for so long, and you've coached the position for so long, but I would imagine there's always something you feel like you can learn, you can grow, you can be different in. How have you addressed that with guys that, I mean, they've been doing this for so long? How do you keep it fresh with them to make sure they're always hearing what you think is important in those moments?
Well, I think that the position's always evolving, just like the game itself. You know, these athletes, they're getting quicker, faster, stronger. I mean, when you see these two guys, I mean, they make the goal look very small. So, you know, so there's always different things that we're learning and trying to improve on. I think that's the kind of cool thing about Matt and Bryan is their ceiling. I mean, it's always moving. And we take a lot of pride in the fact that we want to leave nothing to chance. Attention to detail is something that, you know, Matt prides himself on, and Bryan's learning that as well. As a younger pro coming through, it's you know, you've got to do everything you can in order to get ready. The philosophy, we're lucky because we actually share the same philosophy as far as how the position should be played and how we can help the team. So that makes things a little bit easier.
You guys are obviously listening to Alexi, but you have to work together too to some degree. How do you play off of each other, Matt? How does the relationship work between goalkeepers on this team?
It's been actually fantastic. As soon as I moved here, I reached out to Lexi. I was like, hey, do you mind if we can get a couple of sessions in before preseason starts? And we got in touch with, I contacted Bryan as well, and we went out to Soccer City for a couple of days and just started getting to know each other. What are his tendencies? What does he like to do? How does he serve a ball? Little things like that. And you feed off of each other. You're like, ooh, I like the way he hits that ball. I want him to keep hitting that ball. And you know that we can push each other all day long. And I think that's been the fun thing with this group is Lexi knows that there's always competition and we want to keep it competitive at every session. So I see Bryan making fantastic saves. It drives me. I want to be better and stuff like that. I want to finish the day on a better note. So no, it's always that feed off of each other mentality.
Yeah, and Bryan, I think about, as we were saying before, only one guy gets to be in goal when the game starts. It's a little bit like quarterback in football. There's only one guy that gets to be out there. So that has to be sort of, as Matt said, a real driving force as you guys compete. You want to make each other better, but ultimately you're going to have to be teammates in a lot of respects.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're, like Matt said, we always push each other no matter what. So whoever's name's on the sheet that week, I'm going to do, if it's Matt's name, I'm doing whatever I can to make sure he's ready, he's prepared. And if that means he's asking me to do 15 things, I'm going to do all 15. It's kind of how we look at it, is it's a give-take, and because I expect the same thing in return, obviously. So we push each other, and we make sure each one of us are ready for any and every opportunity.
Lexi, last thing I want to talk to you guys about is the fact that, as you start to look at the roster for the Energy, Bryan being a guy that falls in this category, a local guy who's now playing professional soccer in his hometown. It seems like you guys continue to get more of those. As this game continues to develop, I have to think there's going to be more Bryan Byars and on down the list of guys that are locally born who transition to this point. Are you seeing that? Are you sensing that shift as this game grows?
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen, obviously, the game grow quite substantially since I've been here.
Yeah.
Again, I came here when I was about 20, so I'm not going to tell you how old I am now.
But say just like a couple years ago,
yeah,
right?
That's right. But yeah, I've seen the growth of the game. We have fantastic ownership within our organisation. We've got a great front office where they understand how important the soccer in the community is, and we're growing that throughout the area as well. So that only bodes well for the young player that's looking up to these guys. And then on a goalkeeping note, it's interesting. We've now started to reach out in the community as a group as well, and we're again interested in helping young goalkeepers who have the desire to enhance, their attributes, their skills, and grow as well. As we feel that's an important thing. I didn't have the resources that young kids have now. I used to train myself. I think my coach was a brick wall that I kicked the ball up against. So, to have these guys that are willing to get in the community and coach is another great thing.
I assume you guys don't refer to him as a brick wall at any point in time. But that has to be pretty cool for you guys to see. I mean, Matt, you obviously came from a different soccer area, which was probably, maybe it was advanced to that point already. But Bryan, I have to think for you to see kids who maybe going to Putnam North one day, coming out and training with you guys. Yeah,
I mean, it's nice. Like, growing up, for me, it was Lexi was it. He kind of started the whole thing, on the goalkeeper side, and changed, the way people train and play. And so I've seen it's nice to see it develop from when I was younger till now, and having Matt here now and like all these resources and. Some kids I've trained before are they're like, hey, you guys gonna train us, blah, blah, blah. So it's really nice to see, that kids nowadays are getting even more invested in the sport.
Matt, and like I said, you coming from a different area, different perspective on this, I have to think that, you've seen the benefits of having a pro soccer team in other markets where it continues to influence those younger kids. I mean, that's almost, you can't sort of put a number on how important that is for young kids, I wouldn't think.
It's very true. Most of the clubs that I've played for all have an academy system or that feeder program where we want to see kids progress through the ages and stay with the club. And you always love seeing the hometown kid re-sign or be here from 10 years old and all of a sudden he's signing his first contract a decade later. So it's a fantastic, or it's the way things are done throughout the world, so we look to help as many of these young kids out as we possibly can, and if they're coming to us saying, hey, you want to train us, can we train with you, that type of stuff, we're more than happy to make things happen.
You want to let him maybe take your job in 10 or 15 or 20 years. Maybe not you, Coach, but.
Yeah.
All right, guys, safe travels to Reno. That's
you.
a 9 o'clock start on Saturday. From Reno, go to energyfc.com for all the details about that match and all the upcoming ones as well. And be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com every day.